You are listening to Kaio Conversations, a podcast about anything and everything that matters to Kaimegas.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of our podcast. Thank you for joining us. I'm Leslie Herington, CEO for Kaimega, and we are joined today by Lyn Harris, a 1980 initiate of Psi Gamma chapter at Mercer University. Lyn is currently serving as Kaimega's National Archivist and has done so since 2006 when then SH Jean Morosic appointed her to this prestigious position. But this is not Lyn's only role with Kaimega. Over the years, Lyn has served in many different capacities for the fraternity. After teaching high school and then completing graduate school, she traveled as a national leadership consultant for Kaimega and went on to work right here at Kaimega's executive headquarters as the director of chapter services. Lyn has attended and worked numerous convention and firesides, and she made a name for herself as one of the most anticipated entertainers at convention revelry. And for those of you who don't know what revelry is, it is a really fun and silly variety show that used to take place at convention. Lyn is an educator by trade and a skilled historian. Most notably, Lyn was awarded Kaimega's highest honor, the President's Award, at the Virtual Convention 2020. And you can find Lyn either on her Kaimega World Tour, speaking at chapter events and anniversaries in Eleuthinias, or at home in Chattanooga, where she is today, with her super cute dog, Hoover. Lyn, hey girl, we are so honored to have you with us today.
Thank you, Leslie. I'm honored to be included.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your time with us. Now, you have told Kaimega's story for such a long time. Today, I would like for you to tell us a little bit of your story for a change so everyone can get to know our National Archivist a little bit better. So tell me, why did young Lyn join Kaimega at Mercer in 1980?
Gosh, it seems like it wasn't that long ago in some ways. I was really attracted as an only child, I think, going to Mercer and looking for those connections, those authentic connections that we talk about. And I found that with the Psi Gamma chapter. They were fun. They were funny. They were leaders. They were just those fun, thoughtful friends that seemed to have it all together. And it was just a great fit from the very beginning. That was the only choice for me. And it was, clearly it was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Well, thank you for saying yes. And kudos to Psi Gamma chapter for snatching you up. What would you say is your favorite Kaimega memory from your time at Psi Gamma chapter?
Gosh, there are so many. I think really the sisterhood events, and gosh, so often food was involved. I have often
seventh purpose.
I have often said that food is our seventh purpose in Kaimega, and you can look at that hashtag food as seventh purpose. But it some of the unscripted things like. Several of us as new members got together one night. We knew the officers were having their retreat, and we just went to Krispy Kreme and got a couple dozen donuts and crashed the officers' retreat. So
you just walked right in?
Yeah, we did. We were like, okay, we've got donuts, and we visited for a few minutes and then left. But that kind of thing, those make the best memories. I loved playing intramurals. Some people think I'm very competitive, and that can be true. But I love playing intramurals, but even more, just being on the sidelines cheering. We had so much fun. And after those intramural football games, I remember we would all go grab a sandwich or something and then meet back in a neighborhood park and just, throw a Frisbee and hang out. And so those are some of my fond memories with my Psi Gamma sisters.
Well, I know that, we should probably bring intramurals back to headquarters. And when you're here, we should just jump in the game, right? Maybe PKD or Pike or something?
When I was on staff at Kaimega, we had a co-ed softball team with the Pikes. And
oh, that's right.
I have to say, I played third base, and we went to the third round of the city tournament.
Oh my gosh.
1 year. So it was serious stuff. We called ourselves the Players Club based on our address.
I get it. Kaimega's headquarters, 3395 Players Club Parkway. That is so clever. Well, let's talk about that, because you often remark about your time on Kaimega staff. What is your favorite professional Kaimega memory?
I was so excited to be offered a position as a national consultant. I was kind of the non-traditional national consultant, starting that job at age, I think I was 27.
Because you had already had a couple positions outside of Kaimega.
Well, and to be, truth be told, that was what I wanted to do as a senior in college, was travel for Kaimega. I applied and I was not chosen. It was a pretty competitive year. Somebody named Letitia Fulkerson and Jean Morosic were hired that year.
Both former national presidents.
Right. So anyway, Lyn went on and became an advisor and continued going to conventions, but I had always wanted to work for Kaimega. And Susan Dance, who was a consultant, visited Mercer when I was an advisor. And I thought, she is so impressive. I have always wanted to do this. I'm going to keep trying. So anyway, long story short, I got my opportunity, and I eventually moved to Cincinnati in charge of the consultant program and overseeing the collegiate chapters. And it was such an exciting time to work for Kaimega. It was really, my tenure was the better part of the 1990s. Okay. And we moved to Memphis. We moved the headquarters from Carew Tower in Cincinnati, Ohio. And, any kind of an office move like that is pretty major. We had been in Cincinnati for so many years. Yes. So it was a big deal. And there were about 5 or 6 of us on staff that made that move and started where you are at the headquarters in Memphis. And so that was such an exciting time. And also our centennial in 1995, Kaimega turned 100.
That's right.
I was on staff for that. So it was just so many things were going on. And I remember at the formal dedication of the headquarters in June of 1995, keep in mind, I had been in so many meetings about what was going to take place and what time and who was going to be speaking and all of the details. And I remember sitting outside, and people started looking up and pointing, and, there was some kind of commotion. And I told my friends, I'm like, it doesn't have anything to do with us. It's not, this isn't us, whatever it is, just let's pay attention to the speaker, Well, it did have something to do with us, but it was a big secret. Someone dressed as an owl parachuting down into the parking lot.
In the middle of the presentation?
Yes. And it was planned, but I just didn't know about it, and nobody else knew about it. So all 1,500 of us were just thrilled and surprised that this owl had been welcome. We were welcoming to the event. So it was pretty fun.
Amazing. Do we have footage of that? I would like to run that.
Well, I don't know if in the video, I've got some still pictures. They are in color.
Wonderful. They are in color in 1995. Thank goodness. Well, what fun. Who planned that, do you think? Is that
that has Melanie Shane written all over it. I think. I'm not sure. But
yes. National president at the time. Is that right?
Right.
Yep. Kaimega is fun.
We are.
Now, what do you think led you to have such a passion for Kaimega's archives?
Well, I love history and I love Kaimega. Academically, I have 2 history degrees. So there's that. But I think having worked with the collegiate chapters, I had a pretty good handle on, who we are. And Jan Blackwell being the archivist, the very first archivist we had, she served for 20 years. And we all loved working with Jan. And I tell you, nobody knows how much she put into this more than I do. And all of us appreciated it. But, I was asked when I wasn't on staff, but I was a volunteer, many times I was paired with Jan during a firesides or something in Memphis, and would help give tours of the museum area. And,
nice.
So Jan knew it was time that she was ready to step down. And so Jean Morosic asked me if I would be interested. And of course, it was just such a good fit for me. And I have absolutely loved it. I've often said I have the best job in Kaimega.
You do. And, what an honor and what a wonderful way to tribute to one of your mentors is to take on the position of National Archivist. Thank you again for saying yes.
Gosh, we all have our different strengths. Jan organized and typed and filed and, just did all of the groundwork that makes it so easy for me to do the job of telling the story. And, nowadays social media is you want to meet the members where they are. And that's a lot of what I do.
Well, that's exactly right. You actually have something Jan didn't have, and that is your very own Facebook group. It's called Friends of the Kaimega Archives, and it has over 10,000 followers now. So tell us, what types of posts are most popular with your Kaimega history buffs?
The history buffs. We're also on Instagram too, at Kaio Archives.
There you go. Plug it, sister.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of fun, and there's a lot of interaction in that Facebook group. The things that are most popular, I have noticed over the years, anything with Dr. Charles Richardson, as Psi members called him Sis Doc. So you post anything about Dr. Richardson, it's going to get a bunch of follows, likes, comments, etc. Anything with Ethel Switzer Howard. All adore the symphony. It's still as relevant today as it was when she wrote it in 1904. Jo Bell Holcomb, who is, obviously the beloved founder that was involved at Psi chapter for so many years. All of those are rock stars for the archives. I think also when we have a mystery to solve, people love to get involved in that. And what I'm talking about, sometimes we will find an item, purchase an item, and we won't know the backstory. And if you watch Antiques Roadshow or anything like that, the provenance of an item is just as exciting or important as the item itself. And so we have to do a little sleuthing to find out to whom it belonged, that kind of thing. I try to do that on Facebook, in the Facebook group, so they can participate in the quest. And that's a lot of fun.
People get totally into it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And sometimes, just your average history buff is somebody that will find out the answer or turn me on to what a jeweler's mark, where the item was made. They'll find that before I do. So it's very helpful and it's fun. And I think also any kind of post that we have from the past, when the content still rings true today, it really hits home with people.
Mm-hmm.
We recently posted a quote from a member of Gamma chapter at FSU from the 1920s, and she was writing about what attracted her to her Kaimega chapter and what was different about her Kaimega chapter. And basically it was that there was no stereotype. And so this was 100 years ago. People are commenting, oh, that's what attracted me to my chapter from 1992, or, and it really became a very popular post, just a quote from 1924.
Well, I would say that still rings true. And I can see why people gravitate towards statements like that. So much has changed, but so much is still the same, right? With Kaimega?
Absolutely. Yes.
Well, my personal favorite archive story is the one where the original Kaimega badge made by Dr. Charles Richardson out of dental gold was lost and then it was found again, just like Amazing Grace. So can you tell us that one?
Yes, this is a fascinating story. Our original badge, which is, our most precious possession, and it's amazing the story that it tells, if it could talk. But in 1906, the National Convention was in Washington, D.C., and Gene Vincent-Heller was in another founder was there in person. And after the convention was over, several of the delegates decided to make a boat trip to Mount Vernon, George Washington's home. And they wanted to have a little ceremony at the Kaimega beech tree that had been planted by the members of Phi Alpha at George Washington. They had a little beech tree planted, and the sad little twig was no more than, 3.5 feet tall, 4 feet tall. Anyway, they were going to bury a time capsule. Cool. And what was going to go in the time capsule? Well, they wanted to put a program from that current convention, a list of the governing council members. And Gene Vincent-Heller's great idea was to include the original badge Dr. Richardson had made in that time capsule. So it was buried at Mount Vernon, and that was in the ground. In the ground.
Yeah.
Now, long story short, the tree didn't make it.
Oh.
There are no beech trees. We researched this, I promise. Apparently, Mary Love Collins, when she was national president, let's say circa 1920s, sent an alum and her husband to Mount Vernon to retrieve the badge, which they did.
And she had just heard about this and knew where it was.
I guess so. And the amazing thing to me, when I look back on that story, is that Kaimegas could just dig in the ground at Mount Vernon and bury a time capsule. Or is it more amazing that in 1922, somebody could just wander on and dig something up and bring it, with them? I don't.
Right. Zero security. Zero.
Right. But anyway, we're so pleased that was recovered and is in our museum now, safekeeping.
That's right. I saw it this morning. So all is well. Right. It ends well. You are part of a larger National Archives Committee for Kaimega. So what is your team doing now that is going to impact the way our archives are presented in the future?
Oh, I'll tell you, we have some great volunteers, and it's wonderful to work with a group of people that have such a passion for the history. And really, I'll just give you a couple of things that we're working on. Digitization is the code word for all archivists these days, and putting pieces of paper and photographs, scanning those items and making them available for searches and things like that. Well, in our museum, if people have had the chance to come to the Kaimega headquarters, one of our most popular things are the chapter history volumes, the leather-bound binders.
Absolutely, yeah.
For each chapter, you can pull that down and flip through and learn a little bit about the history of your initiating chapter. Well, our desire is to put those online. And so that's going to be a huge process, but I think it'll be invaluable to be able to, from anywhere in the world, be able to click on Pi chapter and see University of Tennessee history, if that's your desire. So that's one thing. The other thing is updating our museum display at the headquarters and expanding it to other areas in the building and just making it more up to date and user friendly with some audiovisual components, things like that.
That'll be really nice. I look forward to that. Well, I have to know, what is Lyn Harris's most beloved Kaimega artifact of all time and why?
I'm asked this a good bit, and each time I answer it, could be a different answer.
Not consistent.
But we have so many treasures. I have to say the original badge, and we've already talked about it, but to be able to, we just recently had it reframed. And so I was able to actually hold it in my hand and see the back of it. We took a lot of photographs, and I'm just that kind of special history nerd that loves to see the back of something just about as much, or the box it came in or whatever. But it was so soft, you could bend it. I mean, it was definitely a softer piece of gold. And just thinking about the early stages of our founding, when the women came together and Dr. Richardson fashioned that monogram badge, and they looked at that and just fell in love with the whole concept. And so that really is probably my most treasured piece that I could think of that we have.
It is so special. Do the other 25 NPC organizations have their original badges? Are you aware?
I know some have founders badges. I don't know of a similar story like ours that we had. Well, none of them had a dentist that would make a badge out of, dental gold. But
this is almost like a prototype almost.
Right. It really was. It was a prototype. So I think it's really special to Kaimega.
It is. I mentioned your renowned revelry career. Tell us about your favorite revelry performance.
Oh my gosh. My very first national convention was 1982. I was GH in my chapter. And back in those days, there was a revelry parade before the skits and everything started.
Interesting.
So you didn't have to be in a skit. You just came in some kind of costume. And the costume could be a spoof on something that happened at conventions. Let's say the bread was rock hard, and so you'd dress as a roll or something. It could be
super
something
silly
off the just flying by the seat of your pants. But Lee McCraney, the GM at Mercer, and I decided ahead of time that we were going to be cardinal and straw.
Okay.
And so my mother had a cardinal suit made for me. So I was a red bird, and Lee was a scarecrow with straw coming out of her overalls. And
Makes
so
sense.
we were cardinal and straw. And so to be able to participate in that, we didn't win any kind of award, but we did get our picture in the Eleusis, which was fantastic.
Well, I was going to ask you, we had a picture. Obviously we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that memory was great. And then the last time we had revelry, I think, was 2014.
Sounds about right.
The Kaimega Foundation did a skit as synchronized swimmers.
I remember that one.
And it was fantastic. They had, there were women from age 25 to 85, and they came on the stage. All of them had swim caps, goggles, and had the hotel robes on. Very serious, marched on, took their robes off, and they had T-shirts with this bikini body printed on the T-shirt.
Oh, right. Like you see in souvenir shops.
Right. And then they did the synchronized swimming routine that was just a showstopper. And it was fantastic. So it's just fun to take a break from the serious and the meeting. And we have some jokesters among us. So it was good times.
Well, all these performances, Tony and Oscar worthy for sure. Kaimega is not really the only nonprofit you're passionate about. You also support an organization right there in your very own backyard. Tell us about your work with Chattanooga Cares.
Yes, I have been an active member of the LGBT community for over 20 years. And when I moved back to Chattanooga over 20 years ago, I decided I wanted to work with, community service. And as a gay woman, I, had friends who had been affected by HIV, and some had lost their lives to AIDS, and had friends whose children had passed away. So that cause was very special to me. And, let's face it, every cause is a great cause. There are many, many out there. But I felt like I could really make a difference with that. And so I started fundraising, and each year would raise a little bit more. We have an annual event called Strides of March. It's our HIV AIDS walk in Chattanooga. And I've been the top fundraiser for many years. And this past year was recognized as having raised over $100,000 for the organization. And that is in no small thanks due to my Kaimega sisters, who have supported me so valiantly over the years. Every year I ask, so many sisters step forward, and I just appreciate it so much. It means the world to me. I've never been shy about asking for money when I believe in the cause. And I serve on the board for Chattanooga Cares Foundation. And that organization has actually morphed into a public health clinic now, known as SIMPA. Okay. And so we really are meeting the needs of the underserved in Chattanooga. Oh, there's Hoover.
Hey, Hoover.
All of a sudden, we were letting sleeping dogs lie, but he had something to say.
He did.
But anyway, thank you for asking. It's been a passion of mine, and just it's wonderful to be able to give back. And that's one way I can do it.
Well, if you put 1/10 of the enthusiasm into Chattanooga Cares as you do Kaimega, they are darn lucky to have you. So I'm proud of you and all of your work in both organizations.
Thank you.
You have probably visited more Kaimega chapters than any governing council member, I would say. And you've got a sweater vest to prove it. Which ones? Her sweater vest has all buttons from every chapter that she's ever visited. It's front, back, everything. Which ones have been your favorite chapters to visit, and which ones are still on your Kaimega bucket list?
Oh, gosh. I started traveling in 1989 as a national representative. And, it's my favorite thing to go to a collegiate chapter and meet people face to face. And, my favorites, gosh, I mean, I have been able to go east, west, north, and south, and have been able to meet so many wonderful sisters. I would say my favorite visit has to be to Psy. I call them the motherland. And, it is, and I've gotten to go several times. And, you get off that interstate and you start traveling towards the town of Fayetteville. And when I see Old Main, the centerpiece of that campus in the distance, I just know I'm home. And I love that chapter and that town. There's so much history, to be able to stand on the steps of Jo Bell Holcomb's home, where I've got photos in the archives of Dr. Richardson and Miss Jo Bell and other Kaimegas on those same steps. So much history there, and the people are wonderful. They have welcomed me with open arms, and I just can't. They have allowed me to consider myself an honorary Psy, and I am honored. So,
well, you know what? It is so remarkable that we can actually be in the room where it happened, the building where it happened, or the steps where it happened. So right. I hope everybody gets a chance to go visit Psy chapter.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Hamilton.
Reference to Hamilton.
Right, right.
Well, Lyn, without a doubt, you are Kaimega's greatest storyteller. So I wanted to ask you if there is any Kaimega story you want to tell Kaimega today, what would it be?
I was thinking about this, and one of my all-time favorite memories, after we had moved into the headquarters, and this is kind of a silly story, but I think it illustrates one point that I want to make. I was on the national recruitment team for 10 years, so 1990 to 2000. So this was the later 1990s. I can't remember the year exactly. Laura Miller was the leader of our team. And, we worked hard. We spent in a lot of hours. But then on that Saturday evening, she had directed all of us to bring an old bridesmaid dress. Because our weekend coincided with the Miss America pageant, which we were going to, watch as a
Did it now? Okay.
So we were going to have our own pageant. Well, that was so much fun. I selected I've been a bridesmaid, I think 12 times. So I had a lot of dresses from which to choose. But
my goodness.
I selected a lovely lavender taffeta number and from the back in the 1980s. Anyway, it was a long dress. I wore it backless because I couldn't zip it up.
Oh.
I wore my hair up, similar style, but just
an updo,
up,
if you will.
like an updo with a little tiara. And my talent was flipping dimes off of my elbow and catching them before they hit the floor.
Well, that's an Olympic sport, isn't it?
Well, it should be. And but the variety of dresses that we had and talents that we had Barb Chapin from Nebraska, who came out in this very formal kind of winter number with black velvet and green moire silk skirt. And she said it was her chapter sister's wedding. Well, there was this huge stain on the side of the skirt. It was water stain because she uses it currently as a Christmas tree skirt. So there was that.
Yeah, the multi-purposing on purpose. Right?
Absolutely. And Katie Ferrer had just gotten married. Anna Buckner was in her wedding. So Anna wore her bridesmaid dress that she had only worn a couple of weeks earlier in Katie's wedding.
Too soon.
That was funny in and of itself. And we had, Erin Hoffman from Houston. Her talent was hot rollers in her hair to dun 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 dun. Renee Raymond from Southwest Texas. She had been a strutter, and that's their legendary dance theme or whatever. Anyway, I remember put her back to one corner of the grand entryway in the headquarters, and she was getting ready to do her strutter run, and she goes, "I don't think there's enough room." So, I mean, it was very competitive. I do have to say that I was the winner of the competition. So,
champion yet again, Lyn Harris.
So,
gosh, it also sounds dangerous too. I'm sure y'all notified MJ Insurance.
The fun thing about this, I really want people to know how much fun it is to meet and love Kaimega sisters from across the country. Because we all came from different chapters. It didn't matter. We fell in love with each other, and just the camaraderie and the fun that you can have as an alumna and doing work on a national level. It just, there's nothing like it. So anyway, that is a fun memory.
Well, I think we're a good kind of crazy, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Lyn, you've done it again. Being with you and hearing all your Kaimega stories never disappoints, ever. And today was no different. So thank you so much for making time to be with us today.
Oh, Leslie, thank you. I appreciate you and all of the staff at headquarters. Just make all of us as national volunteers look great, and just appreciate everything you do.
Oh, well, we make a good team. And thank you, everyone, for listening today. So please stay tuned for more conversations coming your way. Also, if you have any podcast ideas or notable Kaimegas you'd like to hear from in our next broadcast, let us know. Just email us at kaimega@kaimega.com. And as always, keep an eye on Kaimega's social media channels so that you can be sure to join us next time. Thank you.